Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 103, Selling the Virtual Assistant Concept to Employers.
We're going to be chatting about two different scenarios today. The first is when you come across a job advert for somebody looking for either a part-time employee or a full-time employee, and you read it and you think, my gosh, I'd be perfect for that role. The only thing is they want me to work in their office as an employee, and I don't want that anymore. That's not my life.
No.
The second scenario is you are wanting to transition from employee to become a virtual assistant, and you're thinking that quite possibly your current employer might be a really great first client for you. But how do you sell that VA concept to them?
Yeah, two great scenarios. And sometimes those companies who are advertising for jobs have never even considered that someone might be able to do this remotely as a virtual assistant. There's so many benefits to it, though. So we're going to go through some of those benefits and then some other kind of things to think about and how you might actually go about presenting this.
Yeah,
concept.
but keep what Joe has just said in mind. Like, don't let a fear of them saying, no, I don't think that's going to be the right fit for us, stop you from reaching out to them and approaching them with all of these great benefits if they were to outsource to a virtual assistant. Don't let that stop you, because that is the worst that can happen. The absolute worst that can happen in both scenarios is they say no thank you.
And you're exactly where you are right now.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Yeah.
All right. Should we go through scenario one? So you've seen a job advert.
Yeah.
And you want to reach out to them.
Give them a call, find their company name, their number, try and speak to the person who is hiring and just say, hey, I'm not sure if you've thought about this before, but you've seen the job ad and I'm a virtual assistant. I think that these are the benefits to you of hiring a virtual assistant over an employee. Would you be open to having a discussion about that? Like,
boom.
What's the harm in asking, right?
I mean, that just sounds too easy, because it is literally that easy. It doesn't cost you a thing. Just reach out to them and ask them. They're probably going to say, oh, hadn't thought of that. Tell me a bit more. What can you send me?
Yeah, they want you to send something, right? So that's where, normally you'd apply for a role with a cover letter and a CV. So you could still do something like that. You could do a presentation, you could do a cover letter, you could put something together in a document that kind of presents this concept to them and talks through those benefits, which we'll go through soon. Don't feel like you have to apply in the specific way that they want you to. That's why we would definitely recommend giving them a call and just seeing if they're open to the concept.
Yeah, and it's worked. We know personally virtual assistants that have done this, and it's worked for them for that exact same reason. They made it about them, not about the virtual assistant, the benefits, and for most part, they, as Joe said, they hadn't even considered the whole VA concept before. So what is the worst that can happen? Right, scenario number 2. This one is slightly scarier for those that are in the position where they want to broach the subject of their VA dreams to their current manager or boss, whatever it is. But once again, it's a conversation worth having, because you just don't know what it could lead to.
I think there's a lot of fear around those who are wanting to become virtual assistants talking to their boss, because we make all sorts of assumptions about what the other person is going to think, how they're going to react, why they're going to say no. And we often go through all of the reasons why they're going to say no rather than the reasons that they are going to say yes.
Yeah. So true. So once again, it's about reaching out more in a more formal way. This is not a conversation you want to have with your boss at the water cooler or in the smoko room or something like that, or in the car park on the way to your cars at 5 o'clock. This is a, hi, can I book in some time with you? So I've got some things I want to chat to you about. Right?
Yeah. The manager will probably be like, oh gosh, what's happening?
They'll probably be so worried that you're going to resign that when you actually tell them what the reason is that you actually want to talk to them about, they'll be like, hell yeah, if it means I'm not losing you, absolutely. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, a little bit of fear in your manager is a good thing.
Keep them on their toes.
So this meeting that you're going to have is all about preparation and all about figuring out how you can position yourself to be the very best decision that they could make for the business because of all of the reasons that you're going to present to them. Make it all about them.
Yeah.
Why this is the only option that they should choose. And yeah, let's go through some of those kind of benefits because some of them you may not have even thought about.
Yeah. What's the first one on the list, Jo?
They can have, and let's say that you're doing a full-time role. They could still have full-time access to you, but only pay for the actual time that you are doing the work. So for them, if you're already working from home, you could present it in a way that is going to feel for them no different to how you currently work right now in terms of their access to you and your responsiveness. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. Sign me up. Sign me up. The other one is the hourly rate is where it stops with a virtual assistant. There's nothing else on top of that hourly rate that we're going to call it previous employer needs to then worry about. There's no leave. There's no sick pay. There's no, if you're in New Zealand, ACC.
Superannuation, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's it. Just that hourly rate.
Just the hourly rate. That's a big one because your hourly rate as a virtual assistant is going to be much higher than your hourly rate as an employee. So you need to be able to talk through why that is and how it still saves them money on the long-term annual basis. So every hour that you do is 100% productive as a virtual assistant that you charge to them. So talk about no paying for breaks, no paying for going to the bathroom, no paying for personal time on the internet, no paying for chats with other employees about the weekend. It's 100% focused, dedicated time on their tasks. That's the only thing that they pay for, unlike when you're an employee.
Once again, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be keen on that? Another benefit is you can hire and fire super fast, which COVID meant that this has been really, really important to a lot of employers.
So you can make this transition almost immediately. Whenever they decide that the transition is going to happen, you could continue on and keep doing that role super fast. They could also scale you up and down and say, I want less hours or more hours, or we don't need you anymore at any point. Unlike an employee where they need to go through a full redundancy process to try to have if they don't have work for you or if something happens, like Sam said with COVID, this gives them a lot more control and flexibility around your role. Now, what manager doesn't want more control, more flexibility with their team member? So this is not a benefit to you, right? You being let go first. This is a benefit to them. So try to put yourself in their shoes and only talk about the benefits to them. And then don't worry about the downsides for you. It's where you have other clients on board and you manage your leads coming in and you manage your cash flow and your workflow. Focus this conversation about the benefits for them.
We talked about it being really important coming into this discussion that you're prepared. Now, one way of doing that is to go old school and do a presentation for them, whether that's PowerPoint or something a bit cooler in Canva, whatever it is that you want to use, whatever tool it is you use, do a slick presentation. It's likely that they're used to this type of thing in their environment anyway. And the other thing to prep is these people are used to doing things on an annual basis, aren't they? So hourly rates aren't going to mean much to them. It might freak them out a wee bit even. But if you can figure out that annual investment and sell the annual investment rather than the hourly, then that's going to call to them.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's going to be a big saving. So, if you could work out how many actually productive hours that you do in a week that you would need to be able to do your role, let's say you're working 40 hours now, if you can show them how you could do the same role in 15 hours and then times it by your hourly rate, make it an annual basis, and then show them the savings that they would make. Figure out what the cost of you as an employee is. So have your annual salary and then add on all of the extras that your employer currently pays, and then show them that comparison. That would be really compelling. If I saw that as a manager, I would be like, so you're going to do the same work, still have access to you full time, you're still going to be responsive, and it's going to save the company money. It's a no-brainer. Why would they not? And they have more control and flexibility around it.
Have the conversation. The conversation. Be prepared going into the conversation, but have the conversation because you just don't know. Now, really quickly before we wind up, let's touch on, in either of these scenarios, if it goes well, if you've managed to sell it the way that we hope that you do, and they are super quick to sign you up, one thing to be aware of is you might have to train them around treating you like a contractor rather than an employee.
Yeah, because it's going to be different for them. And so you need to have the contract and they sign your contract, your terms of engagement, so that you are setting the expectations, and make sure you have the conversation when they're agreed. Okay, this is how it's going to work. These are the expectations, and they're your expectations about how you are going to be treated as a contractor, so that you train them, because that is what it's all about, because it's going to be different. It's going to be different for them.
It will. They won't. Chances are they won't know any different. So there's going to be a little bit of work involved. But if you set those really clear expectations and then set boundaries around those expectations and then stick to those boundaries, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So if this is you're in the situation where you are working full time, and with a little bit of prep, you could be amazed by how quickly you can become a virtual assistant and have your very first client. So good luck. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the Members Club and the amazing resources, training and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.